baby's money.
Hey, how's it going, everybody? I know I said I wouldn't upload until Monday, but I did get a little bit of extra time, so yeah, I kind of inadvertently lied to you guys, and it's also probably going to go up late in the evening on Saturday, which is kind of weird when compared to my usual upload times. But if you couldn't tell from the silly intro, this video is going to be all about the mole, the initial release, kind of where it was after summoning, and where it is now. Nowadays, you know, you just twisted bow or DH set the mole, and it's super easy. But with the mole being released in March of 2006, you go back to a time where strategies were not well known and people didn't typically use the Darrock set. They would use whips, D-skims, D-battle axes, that sort of crap, and kills were very slow. Not only that, but you didn't have summoning or the tireless run energy scrolls of the Terror Bird, and you did not have stamina potions. The more experienced players would use things like energy potions. In addition to this, many players did not have a covered light source. They would typically just run in with a candle, or in some of these clips, they would have multiple candles. Don't ask me why. I know in some areas, if you stack light sources, it makes it a little bit brighter. Maybe that's an explanation, but regardless, when the mole digs, it throws up mud, and a lot of us don't even know that now or remember it because we just run in with covered, you know, lanterns and other covered light sources to where the mud doesn't really affect us. So if a person went down, let's say they didn't have a teleport back out, they go down the mole layer, they have their candle, they didn't bring a tinderbox, and, you know, ignored the warning or just rushed down there. The mole digs, it knocks out their light source. Now they cannot see and they don't have a teleport. And we're in old death mechanics where your items just disappear after 2 minutes, or, you know, another player loots them before that 2-minute mark. And many people just went in, you know, their light source got extinguished and they would die that way. Also, in this specific clip right here, you see them with like the rune and Zerker helm combo with the obby shield, the whip. One of them has a Zamorak cape, I believe. The other one a Legends cape. Their gloves are kind of wonky from what I can see right here. But overall, this was one of the best setups you could use around this time. It was a really good setup. Maybe not for the mole specifically, but the setup overall is pretty solid, despite how silly it looks nowadays. Fuck my partner, he had to go. That's fucking hilarious. So you see this guy with the OG pet cat out. That's pretty cool. You can see from the PMs his friend was like came there, and then you can see from the public chat he left. And this dude is so salty about it. I've watched this whole clip before I'm like narrating it now. Partner left me, the fat idiot. Freaking brutal. Even back in 2006, people were brutal. His setup's pretty solid as well. He's going for like the prayer route, so he doesn't have to use food. That's pretty cool. Anyways, the mole is probably one of the only old bosses that has aged gracefully and actually become more valuable to kill than it was when it initially came out. So when it initially came out, you know, no stampots, no terror bird, as I already said. You had to use energy potions or super energy potions. There was also no Falador shield locator right when it came out, of course, and even for a few years following, so you can imagine how big of a pain in the butt it was. So not only are you chasing this stupid ass mole around in circles, you also do not have the appropriate gear that you have nowadays to kill him super fast. You had Darrocks, but that wasn't really a well-used method or a well-documented method. So many people used whips and equivalent or worse. So you're chasing this fat, stupid mole around. It's constantly digging, and because you cannot kill him as fast as you can in the modern day, it is digging even more because you're smacking zeros on it when it's low health. But nonetheless, this dude has a pretty solid strategy of piercing the mole's blubber with the full set of Varaks, so that's pretty neat to see around this time period. Other than that, he has a dude one-iteming with a D-long and like a few other people with pretty decent gear for the time, but it's pretty funny looking back on it. Alright, so this next guy is a change of pace, is a very in-game player. He is actually using a pure set, which if you didn't know, a pure set is a super attack and super strength, whereas a super set is a super attack, super strength, super defense. So just a little tidbit of information from back in the day that you don't really hear a whole lot anymore. Anyway, this guy's got really in-game gear. It's 2006, and he has the fire cape, if that tells you anything. So pretty damn advanced. How do you guys also like that spec bar? Not only the rainbow spec bar, but like the fact that it shows what weapon you're using in the top right, like with an actual image. That's always pretty cool to see. I liked that spec bar interface like time period. I don't know why he is using black d'hide chaps. Now I could speculate and say that he spent all of his money on like the whip and brassy, because both of those were pretty pricey back then, and maybe he just didn't have enough to afford the Varak skirt. But I don't know. I don't know why you'd be wearing black chaps. God, this clip we look at now, like what they're using, and we just cringe. You just know it's going to be bad. Like, you know it's going to be terrible just based on what they're wearing. Like, that thing has so much magic defense. It's unreal. Like, that's why the twisted bow is so damn good against the mole, is based on the magic defense. So he's not going to hit with his little fire blast or whatever he has. So he switches to an MSB. He's got that handy. He's using those are broad arrows, actually. You rarely see anyone use them, and you rarely see anyone use them outside of like Turoths and the like. So seeing someone use that on the giant mole is pretty damn funny. I can't really tell what the other person's using. Maybe adamant, maybe rune. The detail is like pretty bad. They don't really look like rune. They might be adamant or worse. I can't really tell. Also rocking the colorful boot, so I'll give her points for that. That's pretty cool. Actually not killing it too damn slow, but yeah, just looking at the gear before it happens, it's so funny because it's like, oof, but you just didn't have that information readily available. Like I've said in many of my videos, it was there. I mean, you had sites such as like HQ, Tippett, Sal's Realm, and you know, sites such as that, but it was more of a pain in the butt to find like legitimate good guides or good advice on bosses. So what was the initial reaction to this update? So as usual, RSBNB has been reliable for finding actual working images and a working forum from around this time. As you can see, this was posted March 7th, 2006 in regards to the mole update, which also included canoeing Zygamites. Zygamites are terrible, by the way. Screw that Slayer task. But overall, pretty good. I mean, 20%. Why does it have 2? Anyway, a lot of people voted it good or excellent. Decent amount of people voted it as average. So let's take a look at some opinions and the general player reaction from around the time this initially came out. So someone made a canoe that has nothing to do with this video. Skip. Ooh, that's really cool. That's an old ass picture. Look how far away this dude is specking. Got to do with the Carol's crossbow, D Halley. That's a pretty good strategy for the mole. MSB, look at the gear. It's so cool. That's such a neat picture. And then they're showing off the drops right here, because nobody really knew, you know, what it dropped initially. Just like, well, I mean, on new bosses, they kind of tell you. Like, there's a whole polling system and everything else, which kind of ruins some of the surprise. Alright, so I really wanted to get some good reactions, but people are generally just pissed about the canoes because they're members and not F2P for some reason. So yeah, they stated the same thing I also kind of speculated was more annoying back then, the random burrowing, which still can be annoying today. But just imagine it with worse gear. Yeah, it really angers me. The canoes would be F2P. Stop talking about the dang canoes. Talk about the mole. It's level 230 and it moves around too much. You would have a hard time getting a fair amount of damage on it before it burrows and moves somewhere else. Then looking for it would be hard. So yeah, this guy's asking if he can solo it, and they're like, no, because it's annoying. In 2008, Summoning was released, which made this boss a little bit more bearable if you had access to the Terror Bird and Tireless Run scrolls, pretty much ensuring you would never run out of run energy when you were searching for the mole. This was made even easier with the Mole Locator / Falador Shield 4, which had that ability removed in 2014 when the giant mole was reworked. Yes, on RS3 the giant mole was reworked. We don't talk about it, it's really ugly looking. So I'm not going to keep y'all too long. I've rambled on long enough about this boss. It was seen as pretty average on release from what I've gathered, just because of how annoying it was to kill with the limited guides and gear people had around 2006, as well as their only run energy resources being regular energy potions and super energy potions, and the mole typically only netting around 200k per hour because the drops were not noted. You had to constantly bank and you killed him much slower. But anyways guys, that's about it for me. I'm not going to waste too much of y'all's time. Join the Discord if you want to talk to me and others. We have a great community nearing 150 people now. The Discord is in the description. I actually got the link this time set to never expire, so by the time more people find it, it's not going to be expired. But yeah guys, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Later.